Hello and welcome to the Doofcast, a film and TV podcast from Doof Media. My name is Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, my 15-year-old friend, Matt Freeman. How's it going today, Matt?
Your name is Scott?
Yeah.
What a lovely name.
Thank you. Gosh.
I can tell we're just going to get along swell.
I just really like being around you, even though it's pretty inappropriate, and I'm going to regret it every time I do it.
Well, let's spend the next couple of hours kind of just dragging you through the mud on that choice of hanging around with me.
Let's do it. This week on the show, Deconstructing Paul Thomas Anderson wraps up with the director's ninth and final film for like the next 3 weeks, and then his new film comes out. But this is the final film that has been released so far, which would be 2021's Licorice Pizza. So we are going to be talking about this movie, and then we are going to wrap up our Paul Thomas Anderson segment in the way we always do. We're going to attempt to rank all 9 PTA films, and I gotta say, Matt, I have never felt less certain about how I'm gonna fucking rank these movies for any director we've done ever.
I agree. I'm glad we covered PTA, and I'm also very confused by PTA. I was saying this to you earlier, and I guess this is just as good of a preface to our conversation about Licorice Pizza, that like part of me feels like with each movie of any of the other directors we've covered, I feel like I've got a little bit better handle on their thing, what they do, what they like. With PTA, in some ways that's true. In some ways, I feel more confused with each movie.
Sure.
And this movie is like the capstone of that, where I'm like, I spent most of the movie just being like, what are we doing? And it's weird because I'm like entertained moment to moment. Like the movie is working on me the way it's supposed to, but I'm still like, what is this movie? Where are we going? And it's weird because I am feeling all of the things that I think he wants me to be feeling, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird. He has such a weird approach to storytelling that it really messes with me.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but I think that's true. It just that, like, there are some directors that have a very distinct style and theming and storytelling that they want to do movie to movie to movie, and there are some directors that I think what they really want to do is something different every single time. And I do think Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those directors that is always chasing something new, something exciting. I think he's playing in genre. This film we're about to talk about is his hangout movie. So if you do not like think Fast Times at Ridgemont High, think American Graffiti, these kind of like hangout movies where it's just characters. There's no plot. There's no plot. And it's just characters like just hanging out and things happen, and that's it. I enjoy those kind of movies quite a bit, and so I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. But I do think one interesting thing about PTA with me as a whole is I have liked every single movie we've talked about. I don't think I would list any of these 9 movies in my like top 5 or 10 favorite movies of all time. Like I think where I feel like I'm at with PTA right now is I really like him as a director. I want to watch and just sate the curiosity of like where he's going to go and what he's going to do next. But I don't think I'd ever like call any of these movies like my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think I 95% agree. I think There Will Be Blood is, I think, kind of genius and transcendent in a way that stands out from this pack for me personally. But
sure.
Other than that, I think I agree. Just overall, yeah. Sure.
All right, well, let's get into this movie in particular, and then we can circle back around to that larger conversation on Paul Thomas Anderson. So let's talk all about Licorice Pizza.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbra Streisand?
Barbra Streisand.
Sand.
Yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like beaches.
Barbra Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
But the film is a sad thing for.
This is fate that brought us together.
But she's lived it 10 times or more.
Our roads took us here.
She could spit in the eyes of fools.
You're not my director.
They ask her to
Do you really want to see my boobs?
Can I touch them?
See you tomorrow.
Matt, what is this movie about?
A young man and a young woman grow up, run around, and fall in love in the San Fernando Valley, 1973.
This movie was, of course, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. It stars Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman, the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's a 1970s Paul Thomas Anderson movie, of which there are many.
Yeah, one of those.
So I don't know where we begin with this one, if I'm being entirely honest with you, Matt. I guess here's what I'll begin. Do you know what the title means?
I don't know. Okay, good question. I assumed it was meant to just sort of invoke this idea of like, that sounds kind of gross, but but then like maybe some people like it, and that's kind of like what these characters are and what their relationship is with each other, where like they're both kind of repellent and a kind of a terrible match for each other, and yet you can kind of I mean another way of saying it is like licorice doesn't go on pizza in the same way that these two characters don't go together, and yet this movie presupposes, what if they do? Okay, now that I've embarrassed myself, tell me, what does licorice pizza actually mean?
I mean, that's a wonderful reason why PTA ultimately went with it, but what licorice pizza actually is vinyl records are called LPs. And licorice pizza is a vinyl record, right? It's a black record in the shape of a pizza. So it's licorice pizza. There was a popular chain of stores in LA in the 70s that were vinyl record stores called Licorice Pizza. So that's where it comes from. It invokes the time that this movie is set in. But I mean, I don't think you're wrong in anything that you just said. I think that's a perfect, wonderful way of describing what this movie is, because what this movie is a love story between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old at its core. And that's a thing that I think a lot of people just look at and go, huh? What? That's what we're doing with this movie? That's what we're doing? And like I didn't love that as a central thing. Like it's not that I'm like, I think you just have to like get over that and just say, okay, I have the way I feel about that, but let's move on and think and then watch the rest of the movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the movie does a good job of sort of helping you get over that, because
sure,
it really doesn't, their relationship is so
awful.
That's true. So you don't feel like it's exploiting this relationship, but it's not. So what I was going to say is it's very PG. It's very unsexualized, with like maybe two exceptions in the whole movie.
The boobs, yeah,
the boobs, and even that is almost like played as a. That I think it means something that we don't show it, right? But Paul Thomas Anderson has never been shy about nudity before.
Sure.
And we don't show that. So it's overall a very like PG and like wholesome movie, despite the fact that people say fuck all the time and like they're kind of shitty to each other. It feels like it's one of those movies that makes you suspect that even after all of these cynical movies about the dark underbelly of things, that maybe Paul Thomas Anderson is actually just a softie down deep in his core, and he actually believes in love underneath it all, right? Because in the end, the movie ends with this chaste kiss between them, and it's like, and you're, I think by that point you're rooting for them on some level. This is what I mean about always being confused and just kind of caught, torn in two directions with Paul Thomas Anderson, because you're watching the whole movie and you're just like, she's just so mean and awful, and yet you kind of like her, and she has some positive qualities. And
I liked her way more than I liked him, for what it's worth.
That's kind of interesting. I mean,
he gets points because he's a literal child, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think Yeah, exactly. Like so he's my take on his character. Let's maybe we can talk about him and then talk about her. I don't know how else to structure this. Like my take on him is like he's going to be a really cool guy in like 7 or 8 years. But right now he's a ridiculous kid who he has no common sense. He has no impulse control. What he does have is a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of like optimism, which is very charismatic in and of itself, and just a sense of just like wanting to go out there and grab the world by the collar and do great things. I mean, you can't not love the idea of he heard that they were making pinball machines legal, and he immediately starts ordering pinball machines as a 15-year-old.
Sure, I think the phrase "do great things" is doing a lot of reaching here, like just selling waterbeds and opening an arcade. Like,
do things then.
He's a hustler. Like he just that. Like it's so interesting because we meet him as an actor, right? Like this is how he introduces himself. I am an actor, and like he schmoozes with everyone, and he knows how to play the game, but he's not very good at acting. From what we see, and like the movie never like shows him like consciously abandon acting as a thing, but he just jumps from thing to thing. And I think it is intentional that the things he jumps to, like let's talk about waterbeds for a sec. Waterbeds suck.
I
hate waterbeds.
They're also extremely 70s, right?
Ironically, I think waterbeds like had their most market saturation in the 80s, but like they are very much, you think about the 70s, you think about waterbeds for sure. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think this is interesting. I think I definitely like him more than her, and you like her more than him. This is fascinating. This is going to be a much more interesting conversation than I thought.
Well, I don't think she's like a great person, and obviously, like there is something off-putting about someone who it consciously recognizes that hanging out with a 15-year-old kid is weird, and yet keeps doing it. But I do like respect her. Like she's trying to figure herself out, and she's trying to figure out what she wants to do, and she's kind of just lost, and she's an adult. Like what we have here is we have a 15-year-old kid who seems to know exactly what he wants and know how to get it. And then we have a 25-year-old girl who has no idea what she wants. I mean, that's like their introductory conversation is great. It's like, what do you do? What do you want to do? And she's just like, I don't know. And I just find that much more fascinating. Like, I guess the problem, Matt, is I've known kids like this 15-year-old kid, and they annoy the shit out of me. That's why I think I'm bouncing off of him so much.
See, I think I've known kids like this 15-year-old kid, and I always admired them and wanted to be them. so there you go.
Like there was a kid in my high school that owned like a card and game shop. And I mean, I'm using owned very loosely here because like his parents owned it.
Right.
But he managed it. And like I just found him so aggravating. Like I just like my friends, our friend Michael, like really liked the card shop. We went there all the time. They played games. It's because like our friend Nathan would just talk this guy into giving him a lot of free shit. That's why we went there so much. But I just found him so obnoxious. And it's just like, just you're 15, just like fucking chill. Like that's what I wanted to say to Cooper Hoffman this entire movie, to Gary Valentine. Just fucking chill, man. You're 15 years old. Just chill out.
I mean, here's a question for you. Is this supposed to be like summer, or does he just not go to school?
That's a really good question, because I don't know. Like, this is one of those movies that felt like it was supposed to be like this coming of age tale that takes place in the backdrop of the 70s. But I think it is just a few months, which is wild to see him go from like waterbeds to pinball. But I think he's still 15 by the end of the movie. I think it's still 1973. I don't know. Like, it's so funny that his mom is a presence in like the very beginning of the movie, and then she just disappears.
Right.
She's just gone.
Yeah. There's a lot of This is one of those things I was thinking about. Is like there seems like a lot of stuff going on between the lines that I don't know if we were meant to catch or if it's more of a subtext thing. But like, yes, you're right. His mom disappears. He has to use her as a chaperone. By her, I mean Alana, and then we like never see his mom again. And it almost seems like he's living with Alana at various points. And it's like, no, he's not. She still lives with her parents. He lives ... I guess with his family, but you never. I mean, you see his brother, so he's hanging out with his brother. I think honestly, it's just the movie is choosing to show us things and choosing to not show us other things, and it's not Galaxy Brain, but I'm getting a little Galaxy Brain with it because, as you point out, it drifts away and it almost becomes like I think it's almost like the way it's shot. It makes you feel like he's older than he is. At various points, I was like, "Oh, are we covering several years? Like, are we going to see him, age up and become 18?" And
are we going to push? Are we going to push this guy into adulthood so we feel better about the romance blooming between these two characters? No, not doing that.
Yeah. Right. Right. So, I guess I don't even know where I was going with all that. So we were talking about liking or not liking the characters. I think so. You said something I think is very on point, which is it's about a woman, an older woman who doesn't know what she wants and doesn't know who she wants to be, and a young boy who seems to know exactly what he wants. And I wanted to explore that a little bit more because like I think that's what she admires about him. She admires his like the fact that he wants her so much. Like from the moment he sees her, he's a bulldog. He's a pit bull. He refuses to take no for an answer, and she finds that attractive and charming specifically because she never goes after things. She pushes things away. She stiff arms things. That's what her whole personality is. Is encapsulated in that scene when her sister says like, you can't fight with people all the time, and she goes, "Fuck you,
fuck you, Danielle."
Yeah,
so good, so good.
Yeah, it's great. And then like later, her in the movie, her choice later in the movie to join the political campaign is like, correct me if your interpretation was different. It's like she just sees a poster for a political campaign, and she's like, "I'm into politics now."
Well, okay, yes, but also what it is like she's sitting on a curb and she's looking at these children behave like children.
Yes.
And she's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Why am I hanging out with these people? This is what my life has become. And then she looks around and the first thing she sees is a political campaign poster. And she's like, oh, that's a way I can feel important. And she dives headlong into that, like she dives headlong into everything. And because it makes her feel special, it makes her feel important. And then of course you have the complication of her thinking that the counselor is into her. Also her coworker Brian from high school is into her. Like that's a weird thing about this movie is like everyone is into her like like literally every man that sees her is like enthralled by her, which I'm not saying like I found that unbelievable. I'm not saying that at all. It's just it is very much an intentional point of the movie is that like literally every man that sees her, regardless of age, regardless of status. You have Sean Penn. He's playing a character called Jack Holden, but he's William Holden, the famous actor. And he's like enthralled by her, but in a very surface level way. I think the difference between the way Gary is enthralled with her and all the other men that she runs into enthralled with her are completely different.
Yeah, right. I do wonder what we're doing with that element. I mean, there's no way not to say this in a mean way, but like, you cast a romantic lead female, actress, and you cast someone who is like not what we call conventionally attractive. And the movie, like, not only is this just evident, the movie points it out and is like, they say you have a very Jewish nose. I mean, she has a very like large nose, and she just isn't your typical leading lady for a role like this. I'm just saying what it is, right? And it's like, PTA did that on purpose, and then he
Yeah.
had all of the men be totally swept off their feet by her and sucked into her orbit in this weird way. And I don't know why. Like, I don't get exactly what we were going for there. Like, what was the point of doing it that way?
I don't know. I mean, this is such an interesting movie in many ways, because like Alana Haim, the actress who plays Alana in the movie, is the daughter of the Haim family, which has a band called Haim, which Paul Thomas Anderson cut and shot many music videos for in his career. So he has a very close relationship with this family, and he cast her in this movie. Same thing with Cooper Hoffman. He's of course had a very close relationship with Philip Seymour Hoffman and his family. He said, like, I've been directing Cooper since he was a little kid, just because he was like shooting home movies and stuff for them. So he cast these two young actors in these roles in this I think incredibly personal story. Like, this is where PTA grew up. This is where he lived. This is the time period he lived in. So like it is like a recreation of his youth in some ways. It's also like, I think one of the things they said is that one of Anderson's friends is a guy named Gary Goetzman, who was a child actor, and basically a lot of the stories in this movie are based on stories that he told PTA happened to him. So it's like this amalgamation of a bunch of different things. But I just do think it's very interesting that, like, he cast this very personal movie with a lot of like personal friends, and there's a lot of background actors that are like friends and family of people that he knows. And like, he populates this with a lot of friends and family. And I don't know, I find that really interesting, of like talking about, okay, well, what does this mean? What are we doing with this movie? I'm just talking at this point. I don't know the answers to these questions, but like, I don't know. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even realize until this moment that the character's name is Alana Kane. The actress's name is Alana Haim.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not accidental. Like, he made this role for her.
And she's like, I maybe you'll disagree with me. Maybe it's just because I liked her more. She feels like more the main character than Gary does.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think she's more of your typical Paul Thomas Anderson protagonist in many ways, where, you know, she's the Danielle Plainview. She's the you know.
Yeah, I gotcha.
She's the prickly sort of like misfit, kind of her own worst enemy in many ways. And I think, you know, we get the classic Paul Thomas Anderson non-arc where she doesn't so much change as she accepts herself.
Yeah.
And which I thought, one thing I liked about this movie is it's much like Phantom Thread, actually, is it's a love story, much like Phantom Thread was, where we have the same sort of non-arc where the two, it's not just the character accepting themselves, it's actually the two characters who are often in conflict somehow in a very non-traditional and like extremely unique way, figuring out a way to make it work, despite the fact that it just doesn't, like, the whole movie is just like, no, this can't possibly work. And then they manage to see their way through, and that's them accepting each other, not just themselves. Yeah,
well, let me ask you about that, because, like, on the one hand, yes, I agree with that. On the other hand, I wonder, are we supposed to think this is like the good happy ending? Like, I like, there's part of me that's like, she just gave up, and she's just like, I guess that didn't work. I guess I'll just, like, there's this common thread with her where she goes and tries something, and then it doesn't work out, and she kind of falls back on Gary because she knows Gary is into her. She knows Gary loves her. It's this 15-year-old is a safe bet, and he is super ambitious, and so he's, like she says, like, you're going to be a millionaire at 18. I don't know if that's quite true, but he is going to he's going to have his next grift, his next hustle. He's always going to be coming up with the next thing, and so he's probably just going to be fine in life. But but I don't know if I'm supposed to feel like good about the way the movie ends. I mean, like the way it's shot and the way it's filmed and lit and all the elements are telling me this, like, this is the happy romantic comedy ending. The two lovebirds finally getting together. But again, he's 15. So like it's not an accident. Like I saw so much, I didn't watch this movie. This is the first time I saw it. But I remember the dialogue about this movie and the whole age difference thing and like what that does and doesn't mean. And it's like, it's not like Paul Thomas Anderson goes, "Oh, oops, I meant to age him up and I forgot." No, like it's part of the movie that there's this age gap, that he is a child and she is a young adult in her mid-20s. Like again, like are we supposed to be cheering for them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Paul Thomas Anderson literally even thinks of stories in that way.
Sure.
Like, because I think it's just like, isn't this interesting? You know, like, isn't this dramatic? Doesn't this make you feel things? And
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, it does. And I'm like you, where I'm like, okay, but why did you do it that way? Like, what is the effect you're going for? And he's like, what are you talking about? That's not that's not how I'm doing any of this. How many of these movies have you watched, guys? I legitimately come around to this perspective where I'm just like, he creates these really like non-traditional stories that have absolutely unchartable structures, because it's like, wouldn't it be interesting if this happened next? And like wouldn't this be a really doesn't this touch you in a way that you have trouble articulating? And it's like, yes, always, for all of these movies, yes. And I think that's like the thread he's following.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everything that I just said, but also I think maybe we are supposed to root for them. And you know, we have a couple scenes, at least two off the top of my head, and then a third that I think kind of is the third beat of the three beat. The first scene would be when he gets arrested by the cops and dragged away, and she like flips out and she's like literally chases the police car to the police station on foot. And you know, she doesn't actually like do anything to save him, actually, but the point is that we see her in like an unguarded moment. We see like, oh, she actually cares about him.
Yeah.
She actually she just actually deeply cares about him. And then the mirror of this is when they're at the restaurant together, but not together. They're at the restaurant at the same time, but with different people. Yeah. And he's basically being a jealous little shit. And then she's on the motorcycle, and like he's like several steps ahead of everyone else because he's not like drunk, and he's like, this is going to be a fucking disaster. Something horrible is going to happen. And then she falls off the motorcycle, and he runs again, like dangerously runs, like almost getting clobbered by Sean Penn on his motorcycle to go to her and make sure she's okay when she's just fallen off the motorcycle. And you're seeing like all of the bullshit, all of the jealousy that he was feeling in that moment is cast away because he saw that she was in danger and she could be hurt. And he actually deeply, deeply cares about her in this just very like straightforward way. And then the third beat is when they see each other after like looking for each other all night, and then they run toward each other, and then they
lots of running, lots of on foot running in this movie. That's for sure.
Lots of on foot running, and then that's them just smashing into each other violently and falling on the ground, which is both funny and also sort of like a metaphor for their relationship in my mind, where it's like they actually care about each other so much that they kind of can't handle it, and since they're both idiots in their own way, they're just like inept, and they're just gonna hurt each other in their pursuit of each other. That was I literally thought this while watching it. I was like, that's perfect. Them smashing into each other is the perfect way of like ending this movie. And so it's like, yeah, you root for them because you see all of the shallow, fake Hollywood, childish, false faces bullshit that is all of their relationships with everyone else and everyone else's relationships with each other. And then you see just the pure, simple fact that they care about each other. It doesn't have to be romantic. They're just two people who really care about each other. And I think that's like, to me, that I think that's why the age thing doesn't bother me, because I'm like, that's really the thing the movie is doing. is it's not making it sexual. It's making it human in that way.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they're going to go home at the end of the night. Like, they're going to close up the pinball place and then have sex. Like, I don't think that's what's happening next.
I
agree with you. It is this complicated, weird, confusing, uncomfortable relationship. And the fact that we feel that way is a design of the relationship. Yeah. The awkwardness and kind of inappropriateness of the age gap is representative of kind of the awkward and inappropriateness of how different they are as people and how, as you said, simultaneously good and bad for each other they are.
Yeah. Right. I mean, one way of putting this, someone else has probably said this, honestly, because it's sort of an obvious way of putting it. But like, if you flip the genders and you had a movie where a 25-year-old man was predatorily, pushing himself onto that's the opposite of what's happening. So if you had a 15-year-old woman pursuing a 25-year-old man in a movie,
we would feel disgusting about it.
We would feel like totally different, and this would be like a totally different conversation. But like, but that's the thing is it's not. And then it would feel even worse if it was a 25-year-old man chasing a 15-year-old woman, right? So like, this is the least objectionable configuration just because of our like social standards for things.
I also think it's like by design he is, or at least he presents himself as mature for his age. Yeah, and she is probably immature for her age. I think it would be fair to say. And that shrinks the gap a little bit. And like there's never like the danger in those kind of situations, like outside of the ickiness, is like a power imbalance, right? That she can, like, that she's grooming him or something. And that just is not the dynamic at play in this relationship at all.
Yes, actually, that's more sharply what I was trying to say, is that it's the fact that he's the one who's pursuing her, and she's constantly trying to, like, she sort of at first thinks it's ridiculous and is basically making fun of him. And then, like very sort of like callously dumps him. Well, first of all, she clarifies, like, we're not dating. You're not my boyfriend. I'm not your girlfriend. We're not dating. Yeah. And then she starts dating the other guy who's actually like much closer to her age, and he's heartbroken by it. And you kind of feel for him, but you're also like, well, she was pretty clear that you're not dating. Yeah. And that you're not together. So you can only be heartbroken. I mean, it's like you bought his heartbreak and you bought all of that, but at the same time you were like, okay, but like you shouldn't have expected this to work. But he's just so dogged. He never lets it go. And kind of like wins her over just through his, I don't know. There's something romantic to me about like being steadfast, right? This is one of those like antiquated things where it's like, the now it's considered highly creepy to be like to propose to a woman 47 times, but like you hear that story from like the old times, and part of you is like, "Aw," that's kind of the vibe, right?
I mean, the whole idea of like, I've just met the person I'm going to marry one day, it has a level of romance to it for sure. Yeah, and she's smitten with him immediately. Like, I think the story PTA tells about this movie is like the original idea of it came from, he was driving by a middle school. He saw like a kid like flirting with a teacher or something. And he just said to himself, wouldn't it be funny if like the little kid asking the teacher out and then the adult actually shows up to call his bluff on the date? Is I think one through line of these 9 episodes is we've talked about Paul Thomas Anderson's sense of humor multiple times, and the kind of very weird and different type of sense of humor he has. And I think like we talk about the age different thing, and we talk about the appropriate or inappropriateness of it and how it makes us feel. I think Paul Thomas Anderson is probably just like, that's pretty funny. it's pretty funny that he's 15 and she's 25. I think that's funny, actually. And so that's what we're gonna do. Like, I'm gonna build this as a traditional romance story in a lot of ways. It's a hangout movie with this core romance subplot, but she's an adult and he's a kid. That's funny.
Right. I legitimately, I've never listened to him like give an interview on his process or whatever, because I usually don't do that when we're doing deconstructing directors, because I kind of
Sure.
like to figure it out through the movies and not
Mhm.
not be told, because to me that's like having the magic trick explained on some level. And also I think very often people don't actually tell the truth about like why they did things, because they don't actually know why.
Yeah, yeah.
Point being, I really do think this is his process, is just like what moves me, what amuses me, what touches me, what feels fresh and alive and unconventional and weird. You know,
Yeah.
let's have Joaquin Phoenix do weird sexual things to a sand castle woman. Let's have the entirety of There Will Be Blood. You know, let's have
Yeah.
the weird random things that happen in Inherent Vice, where you're just like, it's just absurdist. It's just that's the most straightforwardly absurdist one. But yeah, there's all kind of, and then in a funny movie like Punch Drunk Love, for example, there are really uncomfortable moments. There are really
Sure.
like deeply upsetting moments, right? So I think he's always just trying to get you to feel something, and it's not necessarily like, I don't think he thinks in terms of arcs, or you know, I don't think he writes down like the character sheet where he's like figuring out like what's their flaw.
Sure.
I mean, maybe he does, but I just feel like his approach is very non-standard. That's what makes it, in some ways, harder for us to talk about, and we have very different conversations about his movies. But it also makes the movies undeniably compelling and fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well said. I completely agree with you. Like he has always made movies kind of off the beaten path, and feels through that discomfort. It can bring emotion out of you. I think one of the things I wanted to talk about in this regard is the Japanese woman and her husband, the American husband. It's a choice that, like, I read think pieces about this too, Matt. That there were a lot of Asian people, I think, understandably upset by the scene, and I think, like, at the end of the day, what, like, the butt of the joke is not Asian people, in my opinion. The butt of the joke is this idiot man who
Yes.
acts this way. But I am sympathetic to the idea that, like, if you're an Asian person sitting in this movie and you get to the scene and everyone in the theater's laughing, it's like, okay, are they laughing at, haha, this guy's stupid? Or are they laughing at, yeah, it's true, Asian people do kind of talk weird, right? Like, and I think the movie is clear on that. But did like the feeling of, did people get that? I understand, but I think that is part of exactly what you're talking about here. That, like, I think in interviews, Paul Thomas Anderson said, well, like, this is how people thought in the 1970s, and this is how someone would have talked. Like, first of all, I love I think it's very funny. Obviously, I'm not an Asian person, so I can't speak from that perspective, but, like, I think those scenes are very funny. I really like the first scene, where he does it at first and you're like confused and but he does seem to be translating for her. And then the second scene, when it's an entirely new Japanese woman, and he says, I don't know, I don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So he wasn't translating.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny. So I may have a slightly different take, which, you know, it's just, I've watched, I think, every Christopher Guest mockumentary and comedy. And this actor, John Michael Higgins, is a standard on the Christopher Guest documentaries. And, like, it seems like that's exactly the kind of joke that he would do in a Christopher Guest mockumentary. To the extent where I'm like, did he just improv that? Like, did he just turn to her, turn to his Japanese co-star and start doing the most heinous fake accent that he could as an improv? And PTA loved it. I'm not saying I think that's what happened, but it could have, you know. But it just like, that's exactly the kind of character that he likes to play, is just like outrageously line crossing in some cringe way. That's what he always does.
Yeah. I thought the scenes were very funny. I think this is a very funny movie. I mean, we haven't talked about the Bradley Cooper scene at all. Bradley Cooper just randomly shows up in this movie, and he's playing, oh my god, I forgot the name of the producer. Oh my gosh, hold on, I will look this up.
Okay.
John Peters. He's playing a very famous hairdresser and producer that, as we see mentioned in this movie, dated Barbra Streisand for several years. He's kind of a crazy dude. I think if you don't recognize him from any of that, the most people listening might recognize him from when Kevin Smith had that lecture where he talked about what happened with the Superman movie that he was going to write for Warner Brothers, Superman Lives. The crazy producer that he's talking about in that had all these ridiculous demands about Superman and he needs to fight a spider in the third act and all that stuff. That was John Peters. That was this guy that Bradley Cooper is portraying in this movie. And like, this is the thing, like we're having this very serious conversation about this movie, but really what this movie is, as we said, in like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High vein, just like a movie about these people that zany stuff happens to. And I think the John Peters section is a perfect example of that, because it's just this like escalating level of problem. Like, they show up late because of the gas crisis. He's pissed off at them, so he's an asshole. Gary decides to be an asshole back by flooding his room as he's filling up the waterbed. Then they're driving out of there, and who shows up? But it's John again. His car has run out of gas, which is funny because he made this big deal about how my car has gas, you stupid idiot. But his car has run out of gas. And then, so they help him, but then they ditch him, but then they get back to his car and smash his windshield. But then, they've ran out of gas. And it's just like this kind of escalating set of things that is very fun and funny. And that's what I think one thing you said earlier that I just generally agree with is like, every single one of these movies I have enjoyed watching. Like the moment to moment feeling of watching a Paul Thomas Anderson movie is always just so enthralling and great.
However, no, I thought there was a but coming, but yeah, I mean, I agree. So my but there is like, it may surprise you to hear at this point in this conversation, after listening to all of this, sort of exciting back and forth here, that like this may be my least favorite of his movies.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I was very often confused and sometimes a bit bored, and the herky jerkiness of just like jumping between these set pieces, as you just described, where we have like, and then this wacky character was wacky, and I'm just like, this isn't working on me that well. I don't think this is that funny. Then we kind of move back to something I'm invested in or something else that is funny. But there was a lot that didn't work on me. So like the through line of the two characters worked on me. I thought was good. I enjoyed, made me feel lots of things. A few of the like wacky, zany side characters I enjoyed and felt were interesting. But there were whole bits of the movie. Like, I think my biggest negative reaction was literally like an hour and 40 minutes into the movie, she starts doing the political, phone canvassing thing.
Sure.
And I literally, I restrained myself from texting you, like, what the hell are we doing with this movie? like we're beginning a whole nother plot movement an hour and 40 minutes into the movie, and I still have no idea where we're going. And I've kind of rationalized all that to myself now, where and like you said, it's like, man, it's not that kind of movie. It's a hangout movie. It's going for a different vibe. It's a different thing. Yes, you're right. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Now, I didn't dislike the movie. It's just I like all of his movies. This is probably the one I like the least, is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get that. I love that whole sequence. I mean, I love the conclusion of that sequence and the reveal that the councilman is gay and is hiding his homosexuality because it's 1973 and there's no way he would ever win an election, and the kind of tragedy of that with his boyfriend character. I mean, I really liked all of that, and I liked it as her kind of just, she keeps trying to find her thing, and then invariably it gets mixed up in a guy that is into her, or maybe in this case not into her but using her, and it just kind of throws her for a loop, and she remains lost in it. I understand why that would be weird and off-putting, but like I was just I vibe with this movie the whole
Yeah,
time.
sure,
I just
sure.
like I think part of it is also just like the setting, like this idea of like this is 1970s LA, and it seems obviously I was not alive in 1973 and in Los Angeles, so I can't say like, oh, this is such an accurate portrayal of this place in this time, but it feels like it, and it feels a movie that like Paul Thomas Anderson has a lot of reverence for this place and this time, while simultaneously not having a lot of great things to say about like Hollywood. Like I think actually his portrayal of like the industry is pretty rough. Like he makes these famous actors and producers and famous people look kind of like pieces of shit, crazy people. Like every person in a position of power involved in filmmaking or like play or anything like is kind of like terrible.
Yeah.
And so like it's simultaneously being like a commentary on his feelings on the industry at large, which I find really interesting.
Yeah. I think you're right. I actually think he seems to be kind of negative on the Hollywood system from what I can pick up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that I disagree with anything you said about the arc, the the purpose of the interval, the interlude, the section where she's doing the politician thing. It makes sense. It stands on its own. It's a viable, functional piece of the movie. It was literally just the fact that it was an hour and 40 minutes into the movie and we started a whole new like thing that I was just like, I was like, I'm so lost in terms of like what I'm supposed to be feeling. And I think it crossed the finish line okay for me, right? Like I clearly I just told you that I liked the way it ended, and I felt like their very weird and unusual love story like made me feel all the things that he wanted me to feel, or it made me feel lots of things. I'll say that. I don't know. I don't know what he wanted me to feel. It made me feel lots of things. So that's why like overall good movie is just like I'm just like weird pacing that irritated me at times. That was really what I.
Yeah, I mean, how do you vibe generally with hangout movies? Like, are they?
I don't think I've seen either of the two that you used as examples, so
Okay.
I probably just don't have a very large sample size.
Sure. I mean, you don't like the king of hangout movies, your favorite director, Linklater. So
Okay. Which movies have he done? Was Boyhood a hangout movie?
I don't know. I would call gosh, I can't think right now. What was the one he did? Dazed and Confused. I would call Dazed and Confused a hangout movie.
And I haven't seen that one either. So
he also did a movie relatively recently called Everybody Wants Some, which is just about a college baseball team over the course of a weekend, and that's it.
Okay. So
yeah, I think I totally understand where you're coming from. I just think I vibe with these particular kind of movies a lot. And I think I don't know. I feel like as much as I loved Phantom Thread, I feel like when PTA is doing like if I look at like Punch Drunk Love, Inherent Vice in this movie, like, oh, I like when PTA is doing this like very silly vibe thing. Like all his movies are funny, obviously, because PTA has a very interesting sense of humor. We talked last week about how funny Phantom Thread was actually.
Yeah.
But these are like, Phantom Thread was kind of like deceptively funny. This is like an overtly funny movie. And I like these kind of tones and feels.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't hate it.
Cool. All right. So anything else you want to say about Licorice Pizza before we try to wrap this whole thing up?
I don't think so. I'm happy with the conversation we had. I think I may even like it a bit more after we talked about it, because
cool.
That always helps to talk things through.
I do like that he took two relatively unknown actors. Like I think Cooper Hoffman, I don't even think was like considering being an actor before Paul Thomas Anderson goes, no, read the script. I think this role would be perfect for you. So I like that he took these two fresh faces and like like this is not this is not Joaquin Phoenix, this is not Daniel Day-Lewis. These are two young new actors, and kind of showed what they could do. And I thought both actors did a very good job. They did. Like, it actually kind of creeped me out in ways where I could see Cooper Hoffman's father in his performance.
Sure,
like
sure.
It made me uncomfortable. It was like, oh my god, like you're holding yourself exactly how Philip Seymour Hoffman would have held himself.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's wonderful.
Can
I
see
haven't
it.
seen him in anything else since this, but I know he's been in some other things as well. So,
Do you happen to know? I guess I could easily look this up. I was going to ask how old he actually is. I guess he was born in 2003, so pretty dang young. He's 22
yeah,
now.
so he was 18, I think, when this
Okay.
movie was filmed. 17 or 18
Yeah.
when this movie was filmed.
Yeah,
So,
I think honestly it might help the movie a bit that he doesn't look 15, because I think if he looked 15, that it would feel really weird. But he
Sure.
looks, 18 looks different than 15.
Yeah. And I think Alana Haim was 28. Actually, I know she was 28 because there's a scene in the movie where she's telling her age, and she accidentally says 28, and that was the actor saying her real age. And for some reason, PTA was like, "Oh, that's funny. We're going to keep it in the movie."
See, I thought the joke. I caught that, and I thought the joke was she has been lying about being 25 the entire time, and she's actually 28. And
I think that's probably actually what the joke is. Yeah, because like being right in the middle of your 20s is a lot different than being in your late 20s if you haven't figured your shit out yet.
Exactly. Sure. And there's a point when she says, like, I'm still going to be doing something, still going to be doing this when I'm 30, which is a line that makes more sense if you're 28 rather than 25. But I headcanoned that immediately, regardless of whether that was intended. That she's actually even older. It's even worse of an age gap.
Yeah, I mean, I think PTA's choice to leave it in forces you to do that. So I think that's fine. Oh man, I still just don't know how I feel about the end though. Like, I don't think she's found herself. I just think she's latched herself onto someone else, and I don't know if that's what I want for her.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't disagree with that. I think it can be kind of bittersweet. It can be like, she. Okay, well, one way of looking at it is a lot of the stuff that they do in the movie is a kind of partnership where they each have their strengths, and they actually they can like do sort of more impressive feats together when they are just working together and trusting each other. So it's not so much her subjugating herself to him or whatever, being subservient to him. It's just her like partnering with him in a way that she finds difficult to do because she's so abrasive.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but like they're his ideas, they're his companies. Like, is there a thing that we see her contribute to like the success of the business?
I thought that I thought that certain things like the she tells them that like the mattress company name is terrible, and then she comes up with like some other ads.
Actually, the original name of the film was Soggy Bottom, by the way.
That's great.
I mean, one thing that is cool is like we do see her like with the political stuff. We do see her like take an ownership of that in a really interesting way, where she gloms onto this political campaign just on kind of a whim, but then like really like takes, like we see her, she's the one filming the ad or like directing the ads essentially. I think it's funny that she like brings Cooper Hoffman on board with that and has him be the crew kind of helping her stuff.
Yes, that's a great example, because that to me is like showing like it's not always her like following him around and getting swept up in his zany ideas. This is literally him getting swept up in her zany idea, and he's game for it. He's just like, okay, cool, we're a film crew now, and like
we do film now.
Yeah, we like, and they clearly don't know how any of the equipment works. Who knows where they found it? But they're just like, yeah, we're a professional crew of 15-year-olds who make political documentaries. No, it's I kind of love I love that, In fact, the way that whole sequence plays out, it's like she's doing it, and then very like suddenly you're just like, oh, he's here. Why is he here? What does he do? Like, how did he? And then you just realize the movie didn't even need to explain it. It's like, well, whatever she's doing, he's going to be involved. Just like whatever he's doing, she's going to be involved. They almost can't help it at this point.
Yeah. Like they probably asked her, do you have a film crew that can help with this? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, right. Just like she can speak Hungarian and ride horseback.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I to conclude on that point, I think it was like, I still don't know if I still just don't know if like this is what I want for either of them. Like now he's gonna ride the pinball thing for a while and then move on to his next thing, and she's just gonna like keep doing it.
It's gonna be great. They're gonna be so happy together. This is what they want. This is who they are. You're so cynical, Scott.
I mean, I think it's what they think they want, or what they're scared. Like, I think she's scared that she doesn't know what she wants, and so glomming on to a 15-year-old that seems to have everything figured out is safe to her.
Yeah. Well, it could be worse. She could continue to be completely lost and, living with your parents and not having any sense of direction. And
I guess that's true. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Glad we figured this one out.
Yeah. I legitimately think it's funny that it's one of the rare times that I'm being more of a romantic than you.
I mean, I just think it's the age thing, man. I can't get over the age thing. He's a child. Like, have you seen 15-year-olds? They're children.
I have seen 15-year-olds, and I acknowledge that it helps that he is literally not 15. He is he is a large 18.
Yeah. All right. So that is Licorice Pizza. Matt, let's try to do this thing. Okay. We've got 9 films, 9 spots to rank. I know, obviously, I know where you want to put the lowest now after this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very hard. I mean, I can tell you the 3 that I liked the least.
Okay, go for it.
And then we can maybe go from there. I think I'm gonna. It's like anything I say now is gonna be blasphemous, right? So just gird your loins, okay? So I think Licorice Pizza, Inherent Vice, and Magnolia are the 3 that I enjoyed the least in a pure "am I having fun watching this movie" sense.
Okay, well, I'm gonna immediately blackball putting Inherent Vice anywhere on the lower half of this list. So
okay, all right.
We're gonna have to deal with that.
All right.
I like it. It feels safe for me to say like I think Hard 8 belongs in the lower half of the list because it's like the small one that barely anyone has seen, so it feels like a cop out. But I feel like I just feel that way. Like if I look at this list of movies, I'm like, which is the one I like loved the least? Well, I think Magnolia is there, surprisingly. Hard 8 is there, definitely there.
It would be fun to put Magnolia at the bottom of the list just for the memes,
I don't I don't want to die.
So you think I'm trying to decide how I feel about Hard 8 because I remember being like pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it, but that doesn't that's not the same thing as liking it more than the other movies. So I think I could get on board with putting Hard 8 somewhere toward the bottom. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm willing to budge on Licorice Pizza. Like, obviously, it's going to be near the end of your list. It's probably somewhere in the middle of mine. So I'm willing to compromise there and put it somewhere in our. Yeah. Like, we can just divide our list into 3s.
Yeah. How about, okay, I think Hard 8 can be the bottom.
Okay.
I don't think either of us is going to argue about that.
If with myself on that, but sure.
Yeah, again, we have to do this because we always do this, but I already feel that I am just very confused in even just doing this. So, okay, Hard 8. I'm inclined to put Licorice Pizza next. What would you put in number 8? Just ahead of Hard 8.
I would put either Magnolia or Licorice Pizza, or
Okay.
I can make a case for Boogie Nights being in the lower half too, which again I find super fascinating to think about.
I think I agree with that. I also feel like Phantom Thread is a hard one for me to place, by the way, because I just watched it for the first time last week,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of recency glow attached to it. And I'm
Sure.
really not sure if I'm going to look back on that movie and think like, that was a work of genius on par with, The Master. It's like I really
Sure.
don't frankly don't think I'm going to feel that way. So,
Okay.
anyway, I think 7 and 8 can be Licorice Pizza and then Magnolia, and then that'll at least close out the bottom three.
Yeah, I think that's fine, and we hide Magnolia in the 7 so people don't think that we thought it was his worst movie and don't get mad at us.
Yeah,
Um,
it's important.
okay, so that takes care of those.
Yeah.
So I think if we're talking middle of the pack now, I think we've got a Boogie Nights situation happening here.
We do.
Possibly a Phantom Thread situation happening here.
I agree.
And then it gets really hard for me.
Yeah, I agree with those two. Boogie Nights, Phantom Thread. Okay, let's put those two. Let's put those two aside for a second and maybe talk about the top three.
Okay.
Because I feel that like it's always kind of been clear to me that There Will Be Blood is his best movie. I wonder if you will fight me on this.
I'm not like I on my personal list I probably wouldn't put it as number 1. But it would be in my top 3 for sure.
Okay.
So I'm not going to put up that much of a fight about it.
Okay. So we can exclude that one from the argument here. Okay, the Punch Drunk Love, is that a top 3? Is that
that's a top 3 for me?
Okay.
But then that like having that conversation is like, oh, then we have to possibly bump The Master out of the top 3. That feels weird.
So it's
or maybe we don't. I don't know.
Okay, so is it coming down then to The Master versus Inherent Vice as like jockeying between number 3 and number 4?
Well, so yes, but recognizing that Inherent Vice in your personal list would be in your bottom 3, I feel like putting it in the top 3 is giving me more weight on the list than you, and that doesn't feel fair. So it feels like being a compromise of it being in the middle for us feels right there.
Suppose so. I mean, I don't feel like I've been given short shrift so far, but yeah, I think
So if I put Inherent Vice at 4, does that feel right to you?
I mean, it's our joint list. There's always going to be some.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like they're all so kind of close together that I just, what side of the bed I wake up on, I might move these two positions.
Yeah, to be clear, this is incredibly arbitrary and silly what we're doing here.
Right.
So,
right.
But we continue to do it because it's fun.
So, yeah, Inherent Vice at number 4, and then Boogie Nights and Inherent Vice at
Phantom Thread.
Sorry. Sorry.
So the question is, I think I like Phantom Thread more than Boogie Nights.
Sure.
How do you feel?
I agree.
Okay, so Boogie Nights at 6, Phantom Thread at 5, and that leaves us with Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, and The Master in our top 3. So we just got to decide. I'm going to go ahead and give you number 1 for There Will Be Blood. Like the more I think about it, the more it's probably my number 2.
What would you have put at number 1? Just out of curiosity. I mean,
I honestly really, really liked Punch Drunk Love.
Okay.
But I think I probably would have put The Master as 1.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I Punch Drunk Love is very special. It's kind of funny.
Very
I never even considered putting it, lower in the list. So,
I mean, you can make an argument that Punch Drunk Love could be flipped for like Phantom Thread or something like that. But I have this deep affection for that movie. So
yeah, well, I feel like there's something magical. So I think My feeling is that he's always entertaining. He's always great. His movies are always fun. There's something like next gear magical about both There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love for me.
Sure.
And
so are you maybe making a case for Punch Drunk Love at 2? It seems like you're making that argument to yourself right now.
I think. I mean, you were going to put it at number 1. I can easily see it at number 2. Yeah, I think so.
Let's go, Adam. I'm proud of you, Adam Sandler.
That's totally reasonable to me. And putting The Master at number 3, I think this just follows my gut feeling of like The Master has flashes of that same magic and brilliance, but it also, I think we had plenty of like not negative things to say, but just some like frustration and grappling with like what am I supposed to do with this, you know?
Sure.
So yeah, it's only our third favorite then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, like in my mind, these all range from like 3.5 to 5-star movies. So like even his worst film is not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. So this might be one of the silliest lists we've ever done because like for every director I think we've done, there's always like a handful of movies where we're just like, these things kind of just suck.
Yeah, right.
These just aren't really good movies.
Right. My favorite one was Ridley Scott, where like half of them were garbage and then half of them were like our favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're settled on this list. So you want to read it back for the people?
All right. So from worst to best, number 9 was Hard 8. We couldn't manage to make Hard 8 be number 8. That would have worked.
That would have been good. I regret this.
Number 8, the movie we just talked about, is Licorice Pizza. Number 7 was Magnolia. You know, send your emails to idon'tcare.email.com.
Well, I mean, this is an actual question. Like, how well regarded is Magnolia? Like, I think the feeling I get, the vibe I get, is that this is a beloved movie. But is that accurate?
Maybe it's more just like it's well known because it's weird, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Good point.
It's a good movie. I liked it a whole lot.
Yeah, it was. I liked it too. Number 6 was Boogie Nights. Number 5 was Phantom Thread. Number 4, Inherent Vice. And then our top 3. Number 3 was The Master. Number 2 was Punch Drunk Love. And number 1 was There Will Be Blood.
I like this. I think this is a good mix. I think the top 3 being like a mixture of your favorite and my favorite, and then one we both really liked, just feels right to me.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a good list. I like it.
I agree. Nothing about it sticks out as being something that bugs me. Yeah, great.
Yeah. And pretty soon, in just a few short weeks, we're going to have to figure out where to slot PTA's 10th film, One Battle After Another, which comes out at the end of this month, September 26th, I believe.
That's pretty funny. All right.
Yeah. That will be Leonardo DiCaprio's first PTA film.
Oh, cool. His dad was in this movie we just talked about.
He was, yeah. Lots of old Hollywood people here. I think one thing we didn't mention that like Alana Haim's real family plays her fake family.
That's so funny.
And PTA says almost all their lines were improvised. So like when she walks in the room in the bikini and her dad says, "What the fuck?" That's her real father.
I didn't know
improvising. What the fuck?
That's great.
Yeah. All right. That is Paul Thomas Anderson. Real, like, just a lot of joy here. I really liked this one. It took us a little longer because we had some stoppages in the middle of this, but I really enjoyed this series a whole bunch.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Matt. I don't think we're quite ready to announce what we're going to do next, what little mini series we're going to do next after PTA. But I think we'll be announcing that here in the next few weeks, which means we're in this weird place where I don't know what we're going to do next week.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been the first time in a while we haven't had like a plan. So we'll have to figure that out in the next couple of days and we'll let y'all know for sure.
Yes. Scott is very tactfully saying that I was supposed to have something done by now and I haven't yet, but
I didn't say it that way.
I know.
You
No,
did it.
you didn't say it that way at all. You didn't even imply it. I'm letting them know that that's why. It's because I didn't have something done that I need to have done for us to be ready for the next thing, but it will be done relatively soon, and then we'll be ready to announce our next thing.
And it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. I think you're all going to really have fun with it. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. And I look forward to watching some movies out with that come out of it.
Me too.
All right, Matt, before we go, did you want to talk about Alien Earth? I think
Yes.
episode 5 of Alien Earth was kind of a big one. And I think it's worth talking about for sure.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if you have not yet watched episode 5 Alien Earth, titled In Space No One, which is great title.
Yeah.
If you have not watched that episode yet, please do not listen because we're about to spoil the shit out of it. So Matt, they did it again, man. These fucking Prestige TV with their sudden mid-season unexpected flashback episodes.
It's I feel like this show has just gotten better and better with every episode, by the way.
Yes.
The mid-season flashback, I feel like I should have expected it, but didn't. So my favorite thing about it being a flashback episode is, remember when we talked about the first episode, and like the closest thing we've had to like a real complaint about this whole show was that the first episode had a bunch of stuff in it that felt kind of contrived. The first couple episodes, maybe there were some events where it just was like, that seems really unlikely, but you know what? You just got to kind of accept things and roll with it to enjoy stuff sometimes.
Sure.
And then this 5th episode reveals that it was contrived by
surprise
by Boy Genius. It was planned. It was all. It was. He knew the ship was coming. He knew the ship was full of alien monsters. He knew where it was going to crash. He sent the synths there so that they, knowing that it was a ship full of alien monsters, because the synths were strong enough to actually do something about the alien monsters. He had it all planned out, man.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that felt wobbly and like unrealistic in the first episode, it all totally makes sense. Actually, I'm like blown away by this. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, my gut reaction when the episode booted up, and I kind of quickly realized, oh, we're just gonna do a thing that it's gonna be a flashback, and we're gonna see how everything went down on the ship. My gut reaction was like, why do we need this? Like, we saw the very end of everything happen on the ship, and everything else we could just kind of connect the dots on. I don't think we need to see exactly how everything collapsed. But then, God damn it, they won me over, because it's just captivating, wonderful television that they very quickly build up these, like, we saw these characters very, very briefly in the first episode, and we got to learn a little bit about them, but they like very briefly establish these characters and put these characters in these conflict situations, and then we see how it all breaks down in just some of the most captivating, intense filmmaking ever. And I was just on board with it. It's like it's an hour-long alien movie.
Yeah.
That is both recreating it once again, like recreating Alien almost perfectly, while also doing a lot of fun, new, innovative stuff. With not only with the new aliens, but with the dynamics between the characters and all that. Like I already loved Morrow as a character before this episode, and then you introduce him as a guy who left his daughter behind. Basically, like even he knew it was going to be for her entire life, and then we get to see, well, her entire life was actually only 19 years because she died in a fire.
Right.
Like, all of that was just like, holy shit, man. I like I said to you last week, I could have just a whole show about this guy. And like, then they gave us a whole episode about this guy. And it's just so, like, Noah Hawley, man, just, he's knocking it out of the park with all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we could do like a full length episode about this episode. I feel like
we could.
When you called it a 1 hour alien movie, that rung so true to me, where I'm just like, yeah, this was this was as good as many movies that I've seen this episode.
Yeah.
It plays with the framing of your expectations of how Alien goes. So there's even there's various shots where the shot is the setting and the way the camera is oriented and even the lighting is done to remind you of some scene and set up an expectation. And then they always mess us around with that expectation of what actually happens. This happens a few times, so that there's a very fun, like, we're not just running back the greatest hits. This is everyone's complaint about Alien movies, right? Even Romulus, which we actually liked.
Yeah.
Like the parts that we didn't like about it were the parts where they were like, and then you got to do this thing because it's an Alien movie. And this movie like really minimizes that. Like it almost seems slightly ashamed every time it has to do like, there's a chest burster. But let's pay attention to this eye thing over here. The eye thing is really good. You're gonna love the eye thing, guys. And the eye. I mean, the eye thing is my favorite. I think the eye thing is a lot of people's favorite element of the show. The eye, I guess we'll just call it. I love it.
5 episodes in, I still have no fucking clue what the fuck it is. Like, what is it actually doing when it takes people over? Like, I know you've had your theory you mentioned last week, and that I like quite a bit, but like,
I think like, what does it want is interesting. Like, is it? So we see it in this episode, just try to get her attention at one point. I heard 2 different opinions. I heard one opinion that like it was trying to get her attention so it could point out that the creature was loose, and then another one that it was just trying to distract her so that the creature could get loose and kill her or whatever.
My interpretation was the former. I thought it was trying to warn her, but I think I like that better because I'm like, well, why the fuck would it why is it doing that?
Yeah. I think that, so a lot of the fun of the eye for me is that it clearly is intelligent and clearly has an agenda, and it's kind of fun to imagine things from the perspective of this creature that has been scooped up by these giant weird things and put in a tube.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're plotting to get out, and also maybe you have some experience with the xenomorph because it seems
called it, right?
What? Who did? You?
No, it called the xenomorph back, right? When it's in the one engineer guy.
Correct.
Talk to it the way that Wendy talked to them.
Correct. Yeah, and it's almost exactly. So like you get this sense that this thing has a history, right? So kind of, I think that's maybe what's fun to me anyways. It went from being like, oh, it's a creepy monster, to being like, oh, it's like a little weird dude who crawls on people's eye sockets, and that's even creepier than it being a creature,
It's so gnarly and gross, and then even the little leech bugs like emit poison gas. Some like it's all like I all that stuff I really really like because it's different and new and fun. But it's not like the only thing the episodes are doing, right? Like, we mix in all this complication. I love the android on the ship. I forget what his name is, but how he's just so like, all the other androids are like weird and off-putting in different ways, and he's just like you talked about subverting your alien expectations. Like, he's the creepiest motherfucker on the ship.
Yeah, right.
And yet he's just fine.
No, that I love that, because the whole time you're expecting like, okay, well, what horrible betrayal is he going to pull off? And then he actually just literally tells the guy the answer of like who it is who's sabotaging the ship. But he just waits to tell him in a way where he gets to be all smug and superior about it. And then he gets killed by the alien. So
but it's also cool. It's exciting. Like, I loved all these mini stories. Like, I was sad when the one scientist died. Like, she died so uneventfully. Like, they set up the water bottle, and like they played with the tension of the water bottle and when she can drink it, and then it's not even her that drinks it. And they're just like, what's gonna happen? And then she just dies.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh. I mean, you knew, like, that's the thing. It's like, you knew everyone was going to die because we saw how this all ends at the beginning of the show.
Right.
And yet, like, you still get taken along for the ride.
Yeah.
With it.
Right. I think that was one of the fun elements is we did see where all of the dead bodies were at the end of the show, or at the end of things. So we were like, okay, and it was just long enough ago that I'm like, okay, I know that there were bodies, in the infirmary, but how many were there and who were they? Right. So you're sort of doing like a rough pattern matching as we're going, and you're like, okay, I do remember that now. Now that I see that tableau, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. There's also the element, by the way, that now the little leech bugs are on Earth and they're like way more dangerous than anyone realizes.
Yeah. We're all fucked, man.
Yeah.
I do like that it finally answers the eternal question that if they had just locked what's his name in cryosleep and frozen him, it wouldn't have made any goddamn difference.
That's right. That has been bothering us all for years, right?
Yeah. We've been thinking about this constantly. Why didn't they just listen to Ripley and just toss him in the thing? And nope, wouldn't have mattered.
I think they're like, isn't well, okay. I was gonna say, isn't this sort of implied by what happens in Alien 3? But I think you could quibble over whether anything in particular is implied because it sort of doesn't make a ton of sense.
See, I thought my version of how Alien 3 happened is that the eggs were on the ship, they open and they burst into the cryo chamber and impregnate people.
Sure.
Not that like
Sure.
she was impregnated and then frozen. And
right. She was definitely not
died.
impregnated before she was frozen. That's
correct.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. That was a red herring or whatever.
This doesn't actually matter. I was mostly just making a joke about how they finally did the thing they should have done. Like finally in these alien movies, someone did the thing that they should have done, and it just didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like, I mean, it's the xenomorph. The xenomorph doesn't follow any normal rules of biology. Yeah. It's totally fine in vacuum. So
I do say, like, I do have one small piece of criticism about this movie, or this episode of the television show. There were times in the finale, the xenomorph's movement felt a little weird looking to me. Just like its design and movement when we like saw the full thing. I don't know. Like it just, I felt a little uncanny valley with it at times. I don't even know how to explain the way I was feeling, but there were just moments where like I was like, I don't know if I like that actually.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So my reaction was like, I think I know what they're doing is they're trying to do this interesting thing where they're sort of honoring all of the different interpretations of the xenomorph over all of the movies at different points in time. So like there are moments in this very episode where it feels very Alien 3, where the alien is chasing her down the hallway.
Yeah, we get those great point of view shots. Yeah.
Exactly. The point of view shot, all of that stuff. But then I feel like what you're talking about is probably the one where it's kind of like weirdly, like almost like doing an interpretive dance.
Yeah.
And that to me reminded me of Alien, when there's like the scene when it's like approaching, I forget all the characters' names. It's approaching the two characters who it kills as they're trying to put together stuff to evacuate at the very end. And it does that weird thing where its arms are out and they're like it's like this floaty beckoning gesture. And it also kind of reminds me of that cut scene where it like crab walked over to them, which they cut because it looked corny as hell. But that was an original shot in Alien. So like, there's a lot of words to say. Like I feel like they're doing some weird choices, some choices that play as weird because they're like trying to return a little bit to the idea of the xenomorph as like Lovecraftian, and it kind of behaves in ways that don't make any sense. And then and then it feels a little jarring though when it's sandwiched against a scene where it's acting like a jaguar, basically.
Sure.
It's kind of a more normal like predator behavior.
Yeah, because there was definitely a moment where I was like, why didn't this thing just fucking kill her immediately? Like it lands behind her and then like she's kind of distraught by what happened in the med bay and is just standing there not even paying attention, and then still manages to pull out her gun and sprint away from it before dying. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I mean, I think you're right. Thinking about that scene in Alien, I think that was mostly the reason the xenomorph in that scene when the two are packing up the coolant tubes or whatever is because of just the special effect wasn't working right because it was 1970 something. But
Yeah.
I mean, making that canon, making that like just part of this is kind of how the alien moves sometimes, and it's I get that. I mean, this is not a real complaint, by the way. Like,
Right.
obviously, I loved the episode. It didn't take me out of the episode. It was just a little jarring in the moment.
I mean, I don't even disagree with you. I like when that happened in the movie. I was like, that looks kind of goofy, to be honest. But then I was after that happened, I kind of was still processing it, and I was like, I kind of like their overall approach to the alien. I like that it's not literally always practical. I don't think. I think it's got to be CGI sometimes, especially when it's like killing people. But
I think it was practical in those moments, and then like you can almost see the moment, like as soon as it bends down and then starts chasing her, you like see the CG transition.
Yeah, I think you're right. I give them a bunch of leeway when they do it practically, even if it looks goofy, because I just really appreciate the look of the practical alien.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
good show, man. Really good show. I like, this is I forget the name of the Castle Rock episode that did this random sudden mid-season one-off episode that you just fall in love with, but like that's what these are. Is it like Queen?
Yeah, the Queen
or something.
I think it's the Queen. Yeah.
I call these the Queen episodes. It's so funny. I'm saying I call these things and I couldn't remember the name of it, but like that is in my mind. Like that, like this is a thing TV has been doing for a while now, where we will have just like a random one-off that's either a flashback or a side story or something that allows us to dive deeper into a character. And when it works really, really well. And I think it just worked really well here. I'm really into Morrow as a character. I can't wait to see where he goes next. I love like the final moments of the episode, seeing him meet up with Yutani.
Yeah.
And he's going, man. And now he's going to kill fucking Boy Cavalier, which nothing would make me happier than that to happen. God, that fucking piece of shit. I hate him so much.
Yeah. The show is just building up so much. Like, you just know it's going to end great. Like we've got all these elements in play. We've got the eyeball. We now realize the eyeball is way smarter than they're really expecting. Although I will say, I think my opinion of Cavalier went up a couple notches, realizing that like all these decisions that he made in the show up to this point that kind of seemed chaotic and childish and dumb. It was all premeditated the whole time.
Yeah.
And it makes me even more interested to see where things are going.
Yutani mentions when she's talking to Morrow that they're going to go through arbitration to solve this thing, and like based on what we know, that's just got to be bullshit, right? Like,
yeah. Right.
Why do we think he's even like pretending that that's going to solve things?
I think, I don't know. I mean, he's a fun character to me because he plays up this idea that he's like a whimsical child man, but he's actually just like a cold-blooded CEO of, he's not young at all. He's just, a plotter and a manipulator.
Sure. Yeah. Gosh, 3 episodes to go. I can't wait to see where this thing goes. I mean, it's very exciting that I still don't have like a clear, like, oh, I know what next Tuesday's episode's going to be for sure. I have no idea. I have no idea what happens next, but we've got our 3, like the opening crawl of the show defines 3 different kinds of like synthetic beings, right? You have the true synthetics, you have the cyborgs, and then you have the hybrids that Wendy is. So we've got with Morrow, with the Timothy Olyphant character whose name I'm blanking on right now, and then with Wendy, we've got our 3 main chess pieces here, and it's going to be great seeing them all thrust into whatever the ultimate conflict of this season ends up being.
Yeah, you're right. I enjoy that. I enjoy that we have very efficiently set up these things too, right? We did it
Yeah.
in such a short amount of time that I really appreciate that. And yeah, exactly. Now that we've set up these ideas, we get to play with them. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and like, who do you even want to win? I don't know. What does winning even mean?
Yeah, I think my my view of the outcome that I want to see, which, you know, if you articulate out loud an outcome that you want to see in a horror movie, that's not what's going to happen.
True.
But what I want to see is Wendy and her brother, you know, disappear into the crowd and get away, and then everyone else I want to die horribly. I think I may have said that last week actually, but that's what I want to happen.
All right. Well, he's dead next episode.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Congratulations.
He's gonna get chest
You've
burst.
killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue to love the show. We'll definitely talk about the next episode next week, along with whatever else we're doing.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So that is going to do it for us this week. If you have any opinions about Paul Thomas Anderson, about Licorice Pizza, or about Alien Earth, please reach out to us and let us know. Was the age gap between the characters insurmountable for you? Could you get over it? Could you not? What do you think? Let us know. You can reach out to us via email at doofmedia@gmail.com, X at doofmedia, Instagram at doofmedia, and reddit.com/r/doofmedia.
Yeah, and if you're not already subscribed to the Doofcast, we encourage you to subscribe and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on all of the major podcasting platforms.
And hey, if you are listening to this on the 5th of September, the day it came out, please join us for book club tonight over on our YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about the first book in the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. It is Assassin's Apprentice. So that will be the book we'll be discussing tonight, September 5th at 9:30 p.m. So please join us, hang out alive, and we'll talk about this book.
Yep. Also, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Each review helps us get more exposure and introduces new people to the content that we make here.
That is correct. Next week, who knows? We'll figure something out, but we'll be here.
And it'll be awesome. It'll be the best episode ever.
Best episode ever. Yeah. Look out. Episode 2319. We'll see you next week.
My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.